just different, when that child is your child. And so just sitting in the hospital room just thinking like, well, how are we going to do this? What's next? What do we do? My husband and I got pregnant. We already had a daughter and a son. I have a stepson who's 23 right now, and so it was already a surprise that we were pregnant. Our OBGYN did a lot of testing and things like that, but we never did a genetic test. And so we had no idea. We actually just did sonograms weekly because of my age, and everything looked fine and looked normal. So the day that I went into labor, we were a few weeks early. I think I was 36 weeks, and the doctor decided that she wanted to take the baby because my amniotic fluid was getting low. And went in to have a C-section. They prepped me. They did a C-section. Naya came out. And I remember now looking back, the first thing was that her cry was kind of weak. Usually babies make a very deep cry. And hers was kind of like a mouse, like a eek mouse sound. But of course you can't see anything because you have the covering there. And then once they brought her to me, I just took a look at her and my eyes just got wide. And I was like, she has Down syndrome? And the nurse practitioner who was bringing her to me was like stunned. Everybody was so quiet, and my husband said, Down syndrome? And the room got very, very quiet. I just remember that. And just going through my mind, I was just thinking, I can't believe this. Like, what? And it was just such a shock. Also because I had an epidural and just had a surgery, I was kind of out of it, so I didn't really have too much more time to think about it after that. They whisked her off to the NICU. She was only 4 pounds, 12 ounces, and hard to believe looking at her now, right? Big girl. And I was still kind of out of it because of the anesthesia, so it took a little bit of a while, but once I started coming around and coming out of recovery, it was just heavy. It was heavy for me. I'm a physical therapist. I work with children with special needs, and so I'm totally familiar with the Down syndrome population and other diagnoses, and love my kids. She was in the NICU, and part of the problem was that she wasn't able to eat. She couldn't suck. She couldn't suck on a bottle, and she was being fed in a very small baby bottle, and she could only take half of the ounces of that. So worrying about that, then they had to put oxygen in her nose because she was not able to fully breathe in her full capacity. She did not have any heart problems, which is one of the reasons why they didn't catch it on a sonogram, thankfully. But she had just different things. She was just in the NICU, and it was just tough. So one day, as I was in the hospital, a lady came and knocked on my door. And she introduced herself. She was the nurse practitioner in charge there at the hospital. She brought me a basket, and she introduced herself. She was Mary. And I was thinking, okay, hi, Mary. Well, she had 2 children with Down syndrome back to back. And so that is how I was introduced to the Down Syndrome Partnership of North Texas. She shared with me, she brought me all the information about the Down Syndrome Partnership. Hi, Naya. She told me about her girls, and she made it real, made it personal. She explained to me, just how the feelings of having one child and then having another child, right afterwards with Down syndrome. And she brought me literature. I had a book for new parents of kids with Down syndrome and resources, everything, a little blanket, a baby blanket. She was very nice. She showed me pictures, and I was still in shock, but that was just the first step that really, really, really helped me a lot. And to this day, I just ran into her for the first time at the National Down Syndrome Congress in Sacramento this past summer, and it was just such a nice reunion. It was just great. So I just consider her my angel, Well, I definitely expect that she's going to have a lot of input into the world. Yeah, I like seeing the self-advocates, the kids who are over 18 who have Down syndrome, who are doing things for themselves. The Down Syndrome Partnership has helped me to be able to mix, mingle, and meet, other kids, and to see the potential and what can happen. I mean, even last year at the then named Buddy Walk, they had, and the kids from the TV show and Born This Way, and just seeing it, seeing the kids out there. It's just the information and awareness. The Down Syndrome Partnership has really helped. But what I think I really like most about is the opportunity to mingle with other families, and get to know them. I've made some really good friends. And they've given me resources, like if we want to talk about, who's a good dentist to go through, or which doctor are you using. Recently there was a change in the ENT doctor, and the parents got together and talked. So the Down Syndrome Partnership has afforded me that ability to mix and mingle. Also, one of the things the Down Syndrome Partnership has done is they have the parent mentor program that they did, and I actually went to the workshop to train for that, and I've met a lot of new parents, and it's a really great thing. That I love the new parent mentorship. Well, what I would say first of all is to go ahead and grieve. It is a grieving process initially. Sometimes as our children get older and they're doing so well, we forget how we felt when we had that moment. It's a grieving process because when your child is in your tummy, you're thinking of all your hopes and dreams and everything you're expecting for that child to do. Yeah. You make plans, you just have a thought and expectations. When your child is born and they have Down syndrome, the first thing you think is like, oh my God. And then the second thing is, why me? And it's okay to have those feelings. It's all right. But as time goes on, you will realize that God chooses parents for the kids with Down syndrome. Our children are special gifts. And despite the fact that the challenges can sometimes be a lot, and I wouldn't kid you to say that it's an easy street or not a rough road, because it definitely can be. There's a lot of things that you'll have to go through. There's going to be a lot of hurdles, and each child has their own unique set of hurdles. However, the joy that is brought, just from knowing that God chose me. He figured that I could handle this. And just the things that Nia has taught me about patience and giving a chance, the ways that I'm able to celebrate the milestones that she makes, when she walked at 2. That was huge, that she's able to carry on a conversation, that she's talking. That's a big deal. Every child will not talk, but every child will bring something unique to their family. That she's able to grasp concepts, that I can actually be an advocate for her. I am very aware of how people treat her, how people look at her. Trust me, don't even think about giving her the side eye, because I'm going to give you a side eye, And you get a chance to be there for that child. Doesn't mean I don't have days that I don't cry and think that this is just too much. Sometimes more than others, not as much as she's getting older, but when she was younger, I remember sitting in that hospital room just boo-hooing, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this, But God gives you strength when you least expect it. And one of the things about the Down Syndrome Partnership is that you're able to get, you make friends and, resources. We call each other, we talk, hey, how are you dealing with this? What are you doing with potty training? Oh, my child's having a problem with this food. She won't let me brush her teeth. She's not sleeping at night. And we can be able to share and learn and grow. And our children can have a successful life. So just hang in there and talk to someone. It's okay to be upset and angry. Go through the process. And then allow yourself to grow from there, and then talk to someone. Talk to one of us. We'd be glad to hold you, to listen to what you have to say, to commiserate with you, to vent with you. We'll be happy to do that, and then to celebrate with you as you continue to see the milestones. Because